Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an incredibly dense, highly dramatic excerpt from ancient epic poetry that honestly reads exactly like a high-octane action movie script. We've got massive crowds, shattered egos, deadly weapons, superhuman feats of strength, and a secret identity reveal that completely turns the entire story on its head. So if you've ever thought ancient texts were dry or boring, well, get ready because this scene is about to literally explode right off the page. Let's get started. Okay, let's dive right into this. The absolute boiling point of our scene can really be captured in this single, terrifying thought. We are thrown immediately into the middle of a furious, violent mob of kings. And you have to understand, these aren't just mildly annoyed guests at a party. These are powerful monarchs who feel so incredibly disrespected by their host, King Drupada, that their immediate, unquestioned response is to form a murderous mob. But to really grasp why these kings are ready to commit flat-out murder at a wedding ceremony, we need to look at exactly what triggered this royal outrage in the first place. Section 1. The King's Royal Outrage. A broken rule sparks a riot. So, King Drupada has just made a genuinely monumental decision. He's giving his daughter's hand in marriage to a Brahmana who successfully shot the mark, completely passing over all the invited monarchs. And to grasp the sheer weight of this, we have to look at the rules of their world. You see, this ceremony is a Swayamvara. It's an incredibly important event where a damsel chooses her husband. But according to the strict Vedic declarations these kings live their lives by, the Swayamvara is exclusively for the Kshatriyas, the warrior and kingly class. As far as these assembled monarchs are concerned, Brahmanas have absolutely no claim in a Kshatriya damsel's husband selection. It is a very strict societal boundary, and King Drupada has just boldly, publicly crossed it in front of a conclave of kings who practically consider themselves equals to the gods. This whole thing builds into an explosive clash of perspectives. On one hand, you've got the rigid, ego-driven worldview of the kings. It's fascinating because they actually acknowledge that Brahmanas are important. They explicitly state that their kingdoms, their lives, wealth, and treasures all exist for Brahmanas to receive. But the Swayamvara? No way. That is theirs. On the other hand, look at the reality of Drupada's action. By giving his daughter to a Brahmana at this highly specific event, the kings feel Drupada has treated them as mere straw. They complain that he planted a tree and then chopped it down right when it was about to bear fruit. So this insult isn't just a personal slight. To them, it's a structural breakdown of their entire social order. And man, that perceived breakdown of order leads to some chillingly calculated mob logic. Here's their plan. Step 1. Slay King Drupada and his son to punish the insult, because they feel he no longer deserves the veneration of his age. Step 2, they decide to temporarily spare the Brahmana, not out of mercy, mind you, but out of fear of disgrace and a desire to strictly maintain the boundaries of each order. And step 3, which is definitely the most horrific part, if the damsel doesn't want to select one of the kings, they resolve to cast her right into the fire and just go home to their kingdoms. It is this terrifying mixture of cold, bureaucratic logic and absolute unchecked rage, all designed to make 100% sure that no future Swayamvara ever ends this way again. All right, with their brutal plan set, the tension just completely snaps. The text describes them as tigers among monarchs. I mean, these guys are built for war, with arms described like spiked iron maces. They instantly grab their actual weapons and violently rush at King Drupada to slay him right then and there. Just imagine the sheer terror of this moment, a massive roaring wave of furious, heavily armed kings charging at you all at once. Drupada is completely overwhelmed by the sudden violence, he totally panics, and he actually runs to seek protection from the very Brahmanas who just caused this entire uproar. Section 2. An unlikely epic defense. The Brahmanas fight back. Just when it looks like King Drupada is about to be completely slaughtered, the narrative shifts gears. The defense here doesn't come from some hidden royal army, but from two seemingly ordinary Brahmanas right there in the crowd who decide to step up. And the imagery the text uses to describe this clash is incredibly vivid. It's chaotic. It says the kings are rushing forward impetuously like elephants in the season of rut. That perfectly conveys this blind, unstoppable, instinctual rage. It's a massive, overwhelming force. These kings have their gloved fingers ready, weapons upraised, fully intending to just steamroll these two Brahmanas. But as we're about to see, these are no ordinary Brahmanas. Those charging kings are about to hit a total brick wall. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're dealing with here. One of those Brahmanas, the mighty Bhima, decides that standard weapons just aren't going to cut it.
With the strength of thunder, he literally tears a massive tree right out of the ground, totally matching the brute strength of those charging elephants we just talked about. He strips it of its leaves and he uses the whole trunk as a giant makeshift mace. The text says he stood there looking like Yama, the mace-bearing king of the dead. It is a jaw-dropping, superhuman display of physical strength that completely anchors the battlefield.
And right beside him, his brother, Jishnu, better known to us as Arjuna. If Bhima is raw, terrifying physical power, Arjuna is supreme, fearless skill. He perfectly matches his brother's superhero tier energy. The text describes him as equal unto Indra himself in achievements, shaking off absolutely any trace of fear, despite a literal royal army charging straight at them. He stands his ground, his bow completely ready to receive the assailants. He is totally unfazed by the tigers and elephants stampeding their way.
Section 3. The Great Secret Revealed. The observers connect the dots.
So as this completely chaotic brawl is breaking out, we pan over to the sidelines where two omniscient observers, Damodara, who is Krishna, and his brother Halayuddha, are quietly watching it all unfold. And what's really fascinating here is how Krishna basically acts like an ancient detective. He isn't just guessing, he's actively analyzing the physical evidence right in front of him to identify these disguised fighters. He notes that the hero drawing a massive 4-cubit bow with the tread of a mighty lion, well, that has to be Arjuna. The guy who just uprooted a full-grown tree, nobody in the entire world could perform such a feat in battle except Frikodara, which is Bhima. He even spots a humble youth with a fair complexion and a prominent nose who slipped out earlier, identifying him as Dharma's son Yudhishthira. And those two other youths resembling Kartikeya, he deduces they're the sons of the twin Aswins. He is flawlessly connecting the dots right in the middle of a war zone. So, the crucial point is, Krishna delivers this ultimate dramatic twist to his brother. These are not just some random, magically strong Brahmanas. These are the mighty sons of Pandu. Now, why is this such a massive shock? Because it was widely believed by everyone that the Pandavas, along with their mother Pritha, had all burned to death in a horrific, tragic fire, the conflagration of the House of Lak. They were supposed to be dead and gone, yet here they are, hiding in plain sight, casually fending off an entire army of enraged kings.
Halayuddha's reaction here is just pure, joyful relief. He is absolutely thrilled by the sheer good fortune that his father's sister and the foremost of the Kaurava princes have somehow escaped death. But notice the heavy dramatic irony playing out here. We, following along with this explainer, know the truth. Krishna and Halayuddha know the truth. But those raging, insulted kings who are currently charging in with their spiked iron maces, they are completely, utterly clueless. They think they're just punishing an arrogant host and some greedy Brahmanas. They have no idea they are picking a fight with the greatest warriors on planet Earth, guys who have practically returned from the grave.
Which leaves us with this final, massive cliffhanger. We know the Pandavas secretly survived the fire. We know they have the strength to tear up trees and fight like actual gods. But what on earth is going to happen when those furious kings, and the rest of the world for that matter, finally realize exactly who they've been fighting? The stakes have completely changed. A local riot over a wedding ceremony is about to become a revelation that will shake the foundations of this entire epic world. It's an absolutely brilliant setup that leaves you hungry to explore the next chapter of this incredible story. Thank you so much for walking through this epic text with me today on The Explainer, and I hope this really helped you see the brilliant narrative structure hiding right inside this ancient masterpiece.